When we love a person, it gives a relationship. When she loves us in return, we have a friendship. And this friendship is not a real being. Obviously, if we make a child, we will say this child symbolizes, in the couple, this love of friendship between a man and a woman. But God, who is infinite, when the Father who loves the Son, in other words when the Father and His knowledge love each other, their love is exactly the same, with all the infinity of their nature. Their love is like themselves and they come from both, because the Father says to the Son, I love you, it's you. But the Son, His knowledge, said to the Father, I love you, it's you. That is why it is said in the Creed that the Father and the Son give by their love the Holy Spirit. In other words, the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son, not from the Father alone but from the Father and of the Son. The Holy Spirit is a relationship of love that is also a person, since it is exactly like the two, it is an infinite love. So He proceeds from the Father and the Son. So, question of Muslims, you have three gods? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? No. It is indeed one God, His unique nature that springs, in knowledge, the Word. What I have said so far is the theological structure of the Trinity. There may be some objections to this, knowing that at the beginning of the Church, given the apparent complexity of this mystery, since it is not presented in this way by writing, but in a much more concrete through the words of Christ who says, the Father has sent me. Who also says, I will send you the Holy Spirit. These consignments on the earth have made it possible to go back to the eternal procession in God and well seen the complication one can imagine that there was during the history of the Church. Finally at the beginning, before the Council of Nicaea, all sorts of theories about the Trinity that have all been condemned by the Church. There is no point in quoting them. They are many. Everything was said. There were three gods, and just when we look at the Quran, we see that Muhammad is criticizing a particular theology related to a small heresy that still existed at the time and that said that the one God, the Father, had had the Son by sleeping with a woman, namely the Virgin Mary, a little like the pagan gods did. Evidently this theology has never been Catholic theology. It has nothing to do with what the Church teaches, the great Church that was at the time, in the time of Muhammad, at least for him, the Byzantine Church which has exactly the same theology, except on a point, for the Byzantines, as for the current Greeks, the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father but not from you Father and Son. So the Catholics, following a Pope who also integrates, in a not too delicate way, the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son, into the Creed, and well the Catholics said no, the love comes from two, love is a love of friendship, eternal love in God, which is called the Holy Spirit, is necessarily the love of the Father and the Son who give each other reciprocally. A bit like in marriage, a man and a woman have a mutual consent, otherwise there is no love of friendship. There is a love. But charity in God is a love of reciprocal friendship. So the question we can ask ourselves is, do we have one God or three gods, as Muslims accuse us? Well, it's very clear, from what I said on the Trinity and that contains everything, the rest is development. It is clear that there is only one God, and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, who are exactly alike. The Father has all the divinity since He is God. The Son possesses all the divinity since He is the perfect knowledge that God has of Himself. Perfect it means, total, exactly the same. In the same way the Holy Spirit, since it is their absolutely infinite love, without any limitations. There is no less in the Holy Spirit than there is in the Father or there is in the Son. So it is simply the intimate life of God that is described in the Trinity, the intimate life of the one God. So it is said in Catholic theology that the Father is a person, that the Son is a person, that the Holy Spirit is a person. So we would have three people in the person of God. And the people, taken in the Trinitarian sense, are in fact, when we look at it, infinite relationships, knowledge and love in God, but as they are perfect, just as they are infinite, they are like the essence of the one God. So we have one God in three people who are exactly like this one God. That's it, there is nothing else to say. Only so far, after this little lesson, we see that we are a little bit, in theoretical things, and that we should return now, to the practical consequences of this Trinitarian life. This is what we will see in the next lesson, which I believe, is the heart of all theology, to the point that the following lesson, based on it. You need to have this lesson in mind to understand the next lesson. But whoever understands the next lesson, understands all the bases of Catholic theology. The rest, without exceptions, will be deduced from there.